Hey guys, so I wanted to share with you my story on why I got sober. I just want to clarify that this is my story, and anybody out there that needs help, you do what's best for you. I'm just sharing how I got sober, and if it's of any help to anyone, that's awesome. So let's begin. So I started out drinking as a teenager, just like most kids do, and it would just be your typical parties, and you get drunk and it's all cool with your friends and whatever. So I mean, you never think that you have a drinking problem when you're like 14 or 15 years old, because it's just what we're all doing, right? But I always seemed to overdo it, even way back then, which again doesn't mean I'm an alcoholic. A lot of people overdo it because you're young, you're foolish, and you just want to be cool, so you just drink. But I mean, I always wanted to feel like, I guess, like I fit in, and that people would like me. And the more I drank, I thought the more people would like me, think I was cool, think I fit in. And that theme kind of went out through my whole adult life. So I mean, yes, I never really thought I had a problem. And back then, when you drink, everything's funny and it's a joke, and it's just like, oh man, I got so wasted last night, like, and everyone just thinks it's a funny joke. So then you fast forward into your 20s, and again, it's the time of going to the bars, and everybody's out and drinking. And I mean, my drinking got to the point, I think I was pretty much at the bar 5 nights out of 7. And I was working a full-time job, but it was just, it was different times. And I mean, I'm sure it's like that for 20-year-olds nowadays. You go out and you party till 2 in the morning, and then you still go to school or work or whatever the next day. So again, I never really considered it a problem, but I was kind of known as the party girl. Like, I mean, once I hit the bar, it was kind of known that, yes, I'm gonna get my drink on and I'm gonna be there till you have to throw me out. But it was fun. Like, it seemed fun at the time. That's what everybody's doing. That's kind of the norm, and you kind of get known for that as, hey, you're the major partier, and it's kind of your title. And maybe it gave me some sort of identification in a way, because I always felt like I never really had any friends. I never felt like I fit in anywhere. So if I'm going to be known as the wild party girl, hey, that's cool. Like, I have a title now, and people think I'm cool in my mind, right? In my mind, I'm pretty cool right now. So that went on, and then you get into relationships. So you're either going to get into a relationship with somebody that's exactly like you and that drinks all the time, or with somebody that wants to calm down your drinking. And for me, and I know a lot of other people with drinking problems, somebody telling you to cut back on your drinking is probably about the worst thing that they can say, because you're just like, no one's telling me what to do. Like, the more you tell me not to drink or to cut back or to slow it down tonight, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to like triple it, because nobody's telling me what to do. Like, that's how I am anyways, and still kind of am. But it's like, the more you tell me something, the more I'm just not going to want to do it. So that's just not going to work out. And I'm only going to touch on relationships briefly, because I don't want to really be bringing anybody else into this story. It's my story, but obviously relationships do play a part in things. So I got into a relationship and got married. I always forget about it, but it did happen. I was almost 30 by this time, but I'd been in a relationship for quite some time. And at the beginning of that relationship, my husband-to-be had said to me, like, this all has to stop if we're going to be in a relationship. Like, you aren't going to be the party girl anymore because, we're in a relationship and you got to cut this stuff out. And I mean, makes sense, but I was kind of offended by it, but I thought, okay, well, this is the way it is. So I still always had that drinking persona and that fun, loud, partying, like always a drink in her hand kind of person. And then finally it got to the point where, it always gets out of hand. And he finally said to me, you know what, like if you don't go and get some kind of counseling or try to quit drinking, we're not going to have this relationship. And at the time I thought he was a bit exaggerating, and it wasn't really that bad. And like, I thought he was just a control freak, and why are you making me do this? So I did end up going to drinking counseling. And so I was probably around 30 to very early 30s at this point. And it was really weird, and I'm not trying to criticize this person that was the counselor, but they more or less told me that I was a binge drinker, that I was not an alcoholic, and that as long as I controlled my amount of drinking and when I drank, I would be okay. And that sounded amazing to me because that's exactly what I wanted to do. I thought, I don't want to go out and make a damn fool of myself drinking. I want to drink like a normal person and just have some fun. And, I just wish that I could control it so that instead of like 10 drinks, I only have 2 or 3 drinks and just have some fun. But it never seemed to be that way. But this person told me that I could do that. So I was super excited. So the person said, when you go out, you just pace yourself and you get that drink and then you just sip on it and you just like nurse that drink, and then, then have some water in between, and then you can have another drink. And I'm like, this plan is amazing. This is what I'm going to do. Well, that plan didn't work. As we all know, anyone with a drinking problem or with an addiction problem knows that there's no pacing and there's no, trying to limit the amount of drinking, control your drinking, because it's all or nothing. So on those occasions when I would try that, after the first drink, I would start to panic because I'd think, oh my God, I only have one more drink left and it's only 8 o'clock or whatever, how am I going to make it through the rest of this entire night with only this one other drink? Like, you can only drink so much water. And I thought this just isn't going to work. So I would either want to leave early because I was miserable and not having a good time, or I would just break all the rules and say, well, I'm just going to have one, or I'd sneak one or whatever. I would do whatever that I had to do to not just have those 2 drinks. So obviously that plan didn't work. And a lot of, your typical bad drinking stories, which I'm not going to get into them all, but obviously we've all had them. And in my mind, I just wanted to think, well, yeah, everybody has these, oh, I got so drunk that one night stories, that it's not a big deal. Like, why is everyone making such a big deal out of this? This is just having fun. It's just cutting loose. Like, who cares if I have some drinks? Like, what's the big deal? And as far as it was affecting my life and relationships, I mean, yes, I was always late for work. I was always hungover at work. I was always sick, like always laying in bed, hungover, getting sick. And that was just kind of a way of life. And then you think, well, don't you get sick of it, like tired of it? And you do. And you say to yourself, okay, well, oh my God, I'm not going to drink that much again, or I'm not going to drink that particular thing again, because that's what did it. Like, having those shots, that's what made me so sick. So I'm not going to do that again. And you tell yourself all these things because you want to keep drinking no matter what. Like, you just feel like, I want to do it, but I want to do it like a reasonable adult. What is wrong with me? How come I can't do it like everybody else? So fast forward, I mean, basically, yeah, my whole 30s, basically I just drank like that all the time. And again, I was just pretty much known as that person that, you know, you go out and you get wasted, and yeah, she likes to drink and she likes her wine, but it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I found a lot of people thought it was really funny, and they like to just bring up these like fun stories of me just getting so plastered all the time. And now I come to realize, like, as I've grown as a person, that these people weren't really my friends, obviously, and that nobody wants to keep you around as a joke. You know, like, you're not the punchline for their entertainment, you know. Like, it would almost be like, well, like, we can't wait to see what Sandy does tonight so we can all talk about it and but laugh about it. So you get confused, like, are they my friends? Do they think I'm super funny, or am I just a joke to them? But you don't want to believe that you're just a joke to them, because that's going to hurt your feelings, right? So that continued on. Then I ended up getting later in life into a relationship with somebody that drank a lot as well, which, again, I don't want to really delve into this part of the video, because this is my personal my journey. But you start to feel like they're all drinking, so you're gonna drink too, and you've always drank too. You can't blame it on them. But when you're around people that are drinking every day, you're probably going to end up drinking every day too, because you're with them. Like, what else are you going to do? It's either you sit in the house by yourself or you join them drinking. But then I started to find that if I was sitting in the house by myself, I was still drinking, and drinking a lot. Like, I was having a party for one. Me and my computer, just drinking and, you know, being a complete fool. But still, you just feel like, well, this is normal. Everybody else is drinking too, and so it's not a big deal. And yeah, you go through all those times where you're laying in bed crying and praying, and why am I like this? And why can't I get better? And why can't I just quit? And there were times when I would quit. Of course, I think we all do that. It's just like with anything. You think, okay, well, I've had enough of it, and I'm just going to quit. And I would, you know, read some literature on it, or I would, you know, maybe talk to somebody, or I just think this is going to be just sheer willpower. And, you know, I gained a lot of weight, so I would say, yeah, I'm just going to lose weight, so I have to cut out drinking, which would work for a bit. Like, I would do maybe a month, and I would think, well, I obviously do not have a drinking problem, because if I could go a whole month without drinking, then I'm fine. Like, I'm not waking up in the morning drinking down some vodka. Like, I'm perfectly okay. But I wasn't. I was just, they would call it white knuckling it, but it's true. You're just holding on till day 30, when you can just be like, woohoo, I'm going to celebrate by having a drink, because I didn't drink for 30 days, so I am good. But really, you're not. So after all that, let's just say the relationship obviously didn't work out after quite a long time. And I had a lot of hard feelings, a lot of blame. And you'd think like, okay, well, I'm going to remove myself from that situation. Well, I didn't. Anyways, the situation ended. Let's just put it that way. And you think, okay, well, now's my time to get better, because I'm by myself and I can do this. Like, I can quit drinking. But by myself, I was my own worst enemy, because if I went out for dinner or whatever, social time with my friends, I literally drank my face off. Like, even if my friends were just only having a glass of wine or a beer outside, I still drank like way more than anyone else, and drank to the point of like being totally intoxicated. And it's like, okay, why can't I just control this? And then it got to the point where I wasn't even really social anymore. Like, once in a while I would go out, but I just started drinking at home all the time, because I wanted to have the persona of these women that just, oh yeah, I just gotta have my wine at home. That was me. So it started to be like, you worked a hard day, girl, and you worked out at the gym. And so now you want to go home and have a glass of wine because you deserve it. And it's just going to be relaxing, and, it's just going to, have that wine in the bathtub or put on some music or make some dinner. And that could be normal, but not for me because that one glass of wine was never one glass of wine. Never. So it would get to the point of, I would just have a bottle of wine. And I'm thinking, well, a bottle of wine's really not that bad. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that bad. But then it started to be, I would get off work, I'd go to the gym, still had to go to the gym, because I was turning into a fat blob. But anyway, and then I would go to the liquor store and I'd get 2 bottles of wine or sometimes 3 bottles of wine because it was just going to be my reserve wine so that I wouldn't have to go again tomorrow. Like, I'll just have it here for now, right? But then you just feel like, damn, I think I'm just going to open up that other bottle of wine. Like, why not, And I'd always have some beer on hand too, just in case. And then there'd be times where I'd drink all the wine and it's like, well, do I have time to make it to the beer store? And I go to the beer store, I just always tell the story, it's so ridiculous, wearing a ball cap and sunglasses so that nobody knew me, which, yeah, that's gonna work. But anyway, so let's fast forward to the getting sober part. So you think you have all these rock bottoms and all this, like everybody talks about it when you reach, your rock bottom and the worst thing that's ever happened to you. And what's that defining moment that you say, okay, enough's enough, I'm gonna quit drinking? Well, I've had those defining moments my whole entire life. Like, now at this point, I'm in my 40s and I've been doing the same thing all my life. Like, I keep going through the cycles of crying, blaming, shame, embarrassment, thinking I'm having fun, wanting to quit, praying to God, what's wrong with me, being sick, so sick, physically and emotionally sick, where you think, okay, come on, like, this is it. You don't want to live your life like this anymore. And you tell yourself, I don't want to live my life like this anymore. But you just want to be able to drink like a normal person. You don't want to live your life like this anymore, but you still want to be able to go out and have a glass of wine with dinner. So it sounds so crazy, but it's like, I thought, there's no way that I am going to be able to be out at summertime at somebody's house and not have a drink. That is ridiculous. Like, I should be able to have a drink just like everybody else and be able to control it. So you get to the point where you things finally happen in your life and you just think, okay, what is kind of like the last resource, right? And it's usually rehab or AA or some type of program, right? And as I had done the alcohol counseling before, and I'm not blaming that person for giving me different advice that I could control my drinking, but I just thought, I need to go and have somebody say, you're an alcoholic and you need to quit drinking. So I went to my doctor and I thought, this will be the defining moment, because I knew I'd put on a lot of weight. I'd gained like 30 pounds. I looked terrible. I felt terrible. And she said to me, she said to me that my liver was still fine, but if I kept on the way that I was, obviously I'm damaging my body. I'm damaging everything. And she said, you're not going to live a long, healthy life if you continue on this path. I'm not telling you that if you continue drinking, you're going to die in a year or be sick in a year. But like, let's face it, what you're doing to your health and your body and your mind and everything and your financial situation is not healthy. So I took that and thought, well, I'm still okay though, right? Like, I kind of almost wanted her to say, listen, your liver is failing. You're going to die if you take one more drink, because I think that was what I wanted to hear to give myself the wake-up call, right? So let's just say things were getting horrible in my life, as most people that continue on this path, you get to that point where all these bad things are happening, and you just think, what is the one factor that's bringing it all together? And it was alcohol. Like, I mean, it was me too, and alcohol, and just relationships, but it all revolved around alcohol in the end. So I finally reached out and to somebody that I knew had gone to a program, and I wanted to know their opinion on it. And I knew that they had been sober for quite some time, like at least over a year at this point, you know. And I thought, this will be good for me to hear this. You know, I want to hear what they are doing. And I did not think that they would tell me to go to AA. I thought they were going to tell me some secret of how you just wean yourself off alcohol or something, which, like I said, I have probably tried a million times at this point. So the person said to me, you're not going to want to hear this, but you have to go to AA. Like, you have to go. And I'm like, but I don't want to go. I just don't want to go. I don't want anybody telling me what to do and sitting there reading a book and praying and telling me God's going to save me and it's a cult. And I don't want to hang out with these people that are just like big drunk alcoholics, right? Which there's such a stigma on alcoholism, even to this day, even to people that I talk to, they'll say things to me like, oh, well, I would have never thought that you were an alcoholic, like you of all people. And I'm thinking, why not me? Like, what's so different about me? And I think it's because people just picture this alcoholic laying in this ditch, like, you know, homeless and just begging for money. And that's the only image of an alcoholic that we have. Or, you know, I don't know. But they just don't picture your seemingly normal, you know, 9-to-5, healthy-ish person as an alcoholic, because we're functioning out in society. We have a job and we have a home and we do events and we seem completely normal. We just seem like that person that just drinks a lot, right? But behind the scenes, it's so much worse. And then, okay, let's get back to the AA part. So I'm going to try not to cut this video. I want to just do it all in one take. So let's continue on. So the person tells me that I have to go to AA. Of course, I'm not happy about that at all. And I said, well, I'm going to go, but I have to go visit my family. So I'll go like in a week when I come back, which is probably the worst thing that you can ever do, because you're always going to be putting it off. It's just like going on a diet and saying, well, I'm not going to start it before Christmas because I know I'm just going to eat a lot. Well, when is the right time to start things? You know, there really is no right time. The time is now. Now I'm like preaching, the time is now, people. But it's true. I mean, there's always going to be an excuse, and there's always going to be a reason why you don't want to do something right now, today. You can't put it off till tomorrow, next week, till after this event. It's got to be now, because there's always going to be something, right? It's going to be your birthday. It's going to be summer. There's going to be a concert. There's always going to be something where you're going to want to drink. So anyways, I did what I wasn't supposed to do, and I did go and visit my family and drank, and then came back and still drank. And then I think it was probably 2 days later, I was at work, and I remember this, like, I called the AA number, the AA hotline, I guess you can call it, and I wanted to know about meetings, and the person on the phone said, well, there's a meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. And I said, well, that's just not going to work for me, because, like, I get done at the gym at this time, and so I need something to do. Well, the person probably thought I was cuckoo, but in my thinking, it was like, the world revolves around me, so you got to make this work for me, because those times just don't work for me. And I was living in a small city where there's only, you know, a certain amount of meetings, and this is the time. Like, there's not one every hour. Like, this is the time, right? So I went to the meeting, and I remember I was terrified, and I walked into the basement of this building, and it's all men. Like, what the hell is going on, right? So I'm thinking, am I in the wrong place? Like, what's going on? And I remember going into the washroom and crying. Well, that's something I do all the time anyways, but it's on the daily basis. But I went into the washroom and started crying and thinking, like, I don't belong here. Like, what is happening, right? So I came out, and nobody said anything to me, like, what are you doing here? Get out. So I thought, okay, well, this must be the place. So I sat down, and I'd never been to a meeting before. I never knew what, how it went, the structure of it. So, they start reading from the book and saying prayers and things. And I'm thinking, okay, basically I'm in Waco. Like, what is happening? I'm in a cult. So I just thought, stick with it. And then once they started reading, I remember, I think it was just even the 12 steps, I was hysterically bawling, because everything that they're saying is all the things that you want to do. Like, you need to admit that you have a problem with alcohol, and that you've tried everything, and that you're helpless, and this is the time. So everything that they're saying is resonating with me, and I just like bawled my eyes out. And so I remember they were going around, and they had topics, and they had a piece of paper, and they were handing it to people. And I'm pretty sure that everybody there thought that I was not going to say a word, because I was just hysterically crying, and it was pretty obvious it was my first meeting, because I had said that at the beginning. And oh no, don't give me that piece of paper, because I'm going to start talking. So I talked, I just let things out. I don't even remember what I said, but I was pretty hysterical. And so after the meeting, a couple of the men came up to me, and they gave me the big book. And they're like, this is the Bible, and you need to go home and you need to read this. And again, I'm thinking, cult. So you're kind of not wanting to do this, because I'm like, yeah, this is exactly why I didn't want to come here, because you were doing exactly like the stereotypes of what you've heard about AA and it being a cult, and them like being all religious and trying to get you to do what they say. And so, and he even asked me, he's like, why do you think that this is a cult? And I said, because you're telling me what to do. And it's all like, we're all going to follow this program. And I don't want to do that. Like, no, like, I just want to like live a normal life, but not have to talk to you people, and not have to go to these meetings, and not have to do any of this. Because that's how it works for me. It's like, I want things to happen, but I don't want to have to do anything. They're just supposed to happen, right? So anyways, he said, well, go home and just read a little bit of this book, and I really hope to see you again tomorrow night. I'm thinking, yeah, that's not happening. But I did go home, and I did read a little bit of the book, and I just thought, okay, whatever. And I don't know what it was in me that made me go again to another meeting the next night, but there was something in me that said, just go, and I wasn't full on like that day. I didn't think I was cured. But I just thought, I know that this is something I have to do. And even if I don't like anybody in this room, and I don't want to hear anything that they have to say, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do what they tell me to do, because I've got no other choice right now. Because if I just go home tonight, I'm going to be all by myself. And what am I going to do? Probably go to the liquor store. So, and I remember I still had like alcohol in my fridge, which is crazy. But I thought, just in case company comes over or something. I don't know. You're not in your right frame of mind, right? So I remember it was probably about 2 weeks in, and that's when you really start to feel, well, for me anyways, that like I'm good now. I am sober. Oh my God, I'm sober. And I am so good. And I know I'm never going to drink again. And I didn't even really know what the steps were, or how to begin following them, or the work that you had to put into it. But I just knew I was good. So I went on my little spree of like telling everybody like, hey man, I am sober and my life is so amazing right now. And I haven't drank in 2 weeks. And I think I was looking for that validation, which we all are in some way. We all want everybody to say like, whew, good job, good for you, that's amazing. I did get some of that, which is exactly what I was looking for. But I also got a lot of, well, like, you're not an alcoholic. Like, why are you going there? Oh my God, you don't need that place. Like, what, like, you don't have a drinking problem. Like, yeah, if you've got a drinking problem, then I've got a drinking problem. Like, if you're an alcoholic, then so am I, because like, so what if you like to drink? And I really found that people were trying to say that I wasn't an alcoholic. And, you know, you come to realize that this is because they don't want to look at their own lives and their own behavior and, you know, how they are. And I'm not judging by any means, but it's true. I mean, you don't want to admit that. So you just think, well, man, if they think they have a problem, then I have a problem. So I don't want to think I have a problem. So you don't have a problem. But I had a problem. So we'll just fast forward into a little bit into the AA program, because it's been an off and on thing for me. So I will say 100% that yes, AA helped me get sober. The support of the people that you meet there. My sponsor is probably the most amazing person. I'll cry if I start to even talk about her, that I've ever met, because she's so patient and she's so kind, and she is 100% the right fit for me, because she calls me on my stuff when I'm trying to do things the way I want to do them, but she's also kind and doesn't force any opinions on me or tell me, well, you have to do this or else you're going to start drinking again. See, that's what I don't like. So, I mean, it's come to the point now where I religiously went to meetings for the first 2 years, and that was a part of my life. Like, probably the first year I went to 5 meetings a week. That was part of my life, and I started to get very involved in the program and, you know, helping others, going to events, very in the whole program, right? And then you start to feel, or at least I started to feel, like, I don't want this to be my whole life though. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, all I do is AA stuff and that's it, and just like, that's how I'm identified, and those are my only friends, and like, I'm just in this group and I want to do other things. And it's really, really hard because first thing, getting sober, you lose a lot of friends. Let's just put that out there. You lose a lot of friends, both friends that were just your drinking friends, but also your real friends, because part of it is, I think that they don't know how to handle you now. Like, I know part of it is they would say, well, we don't want to invite you to things because there's going to be alcohol there, and we don't want to feel like, you know, you're going to be tempted or something, or you're going to be judging us for drinking, or you're going to be like, why did they invite me to this if all they're going to be doing is drinking? So it's a tough one for them too, and I get that. I totally get that, because sometimes I would feel like, well, why didn't they invite me? And I mean, like, do they think I'm just boring now because I don't drink? Which I've been told as well, which totally 100% is not true. But you just think, like, I don't understand why I'm not a part of things anymore. And it's really hard. And then you just feel like, so the only people I can hang out with are AA people, and that's it. And I'm not saying that they're bad people, but you just feel like, okay, so that's it. I have no other friends now and can't do any other activities except AA activities. And you just see these same people all the time. And you start to get, at least I did, kind of tired of it. And I think, I just don't want to hear your story again, Bob, and I don't want to hear like what you have to say anymore, and you're getting on my nerves, and you just need a break. So, but you're terrified because you think, if I don't go to meetings, I'm going to start drinking again. But in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm not, because I am good. I've got this. There's no way. So I still continued always keeping in contact with my sponsor. And gradually, I just stopped going to meetings, which, you know, if anybody in meetings or in AA will tell you, is probably the worst thing that you can do. Not to say that you have to go to 5 meetings a week, not to say that you even have to go to 1 meeting a week, but it's like you kind of need that contact. But people were telling me, like my normal friends were saying, okay, well, Sandy, like honestly, if it's like counseling, if you kept going to counseling all your life, like you're never really getting better. You're just like sitting there talking about your problems, but nothing's getting done. So like, I really don't think you need to go anymore. Like, I think your time is up there. Like, you're good. And so you start to feel that way. Like, yeah, I am good. Because like, I mean, look at me go. Like, you know, I've lost my weight. I'm healthy. I'm working out. I've got my job. Like, things are on track. And you just start to feel like, yeah, you know, what? Maybe I don't need that anymore. So I went probably the last over 3 years not really going to meetings. I'd go periodically. I'd always say it's like Catholic. I go like only at Christmas and Easter, and which was basically true. I would go during a holiday or something because I'm by myself and I don't have any family around me. So I would always think, well, yeah, this is going to make me feel good, and I'll go, and it'll just be this wonderful day. And then, yeah, I'm good now for another like 5 months or something, right? So the next thing comes up. But deep down, I think I really wasn't. So you get to a point where, okay, I'm sober. I've been sober now for almost 6 years, which is awesome and amazing, and it's great. And I always say, when they talk about you had a spiritual awakening or what made you become sober, like how did you get sober, the only thing I can say is it was that first AA meeting, and that's all I can say. I mean, yes, I've done work since then, and I've worked on myself, and I've had people help me, and there's many factors, God and praying and just, you know, opening up your mind and your heart, and there's so many factors in it. But honestly, like if you were to say like I went to that one AA meeting that night and bawled my eyes out and then I never drank again, like that's a miracle, people. Like that really truly is. So I have to say that, you know, that helped me tremendously. So why I got sober, because I was tired of living my life the way that I was living it. And I was tired of being hungover all the time. I was tired of lying all the time. I was tired of being the joke all the time. And all those people that thought I was so funny, or that I thought I was so popular, or my stories were hilarious, they really weren't. They were pretty embarrassing, and some of them pretty horrific. And I just think I'm not that person anymore, and I don't want to be that person anymore. And excuse me, am I a perfect person now because I don't drink? Not at all. I have many faults and many, you know, things that are wrong with me and my thinking and my life and everything else. But I know the number one thing is that I'm not drinking alcohol and that I'm sober today. So then let's fast forward again to what's going on in our lives right now, this pandemic and everything else. It's kind of funny because right before all this started, I said, you know, I really think I'm going to start going to AA meetings again, because I moved to a new city. Excuse me. I've been here for a bit. And I thought, I'd gone to a couple meetings and I didn't like them. Of course I didn't like them. And I thought, you know, maybe I've got to just give it a chance again and see how it goes. And then all this happened, and it's like, okay, we have to be quarantined and you can't leave your house. And I heard about these Zoom meetings online, and I thought, Oh gosh, I don't really know if I want to do that. So I did a couple, and of course I didn't like them, and I thought, no, you know what? I've got to just sit here in silence and just dwell on, my life and try to get through this on my own. And it's so weird. It's like, why would you want to try to do something on your own when there's so much help available? And it doesn't mean that you have to hang out with everybody in AA every day. It doesn't mean that you all have to be BFFs. Like, it doesn't mean that. It just means that you know that there's somebody there that you can call or contact when you need to talk. Because I'll tell you this, and this is one of the reasons why I do believe in AA, even though I haven't gone in a long time, is because they are going to be the only people that are truly going to understand what you are going through. There's nobody else that can understand it except another alcoholic or addict can understand what you are going through. Because when I say to people, well, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and they'll say, oh, well, I don't drink very much either, or I don't really need to drink, like I could take it or leave it. Yeah, that's awesome, Karen, but you're not the same as me. You know what I mean? I can't take it or leave it. And that is why I'm an alcoholic, because if I take it, there's going to be a huge problem. Like, I can never drink. And that's the hard thing. When you think like, I can never drink again, that is a lot to take in. I mean, that is a lot, especially when that's your whole identity, basically your whole life, as you were that fun, big partier, drinker person. To say, I'm never going to take another drink again, that's pretty huge. So I've gone to a couple more, this video is probably all over the place, but that's just how I talk. I've gone to a couple more of the Zoom meetings, and actually the last two I really, really enjoyed. And they really resonated with a lot of the things that drew me to AA in the first place, is hearing people's stories, hearing what they're going through, hearing that they're 1 month sober. Like, that's amazing. Yes, are there going to be people that get on my last nerve and I don't want to listen to them? 100%. 100%. Am I ever going to talk and people aren't going to want to listen to me? Maybe. No, 100%. Like, not everyone is everyone's cup of tea, and you're not going to always want to hear what everyone has to say, and you're not going to love everyone's story or personality or opinions. But like they always say, you take what you need and you leave what you don't, or something like that. And I never really got into all the slogans, but but that is a huge part of it. I mean, you take what you need for today, and you reach out when you really need to reach out, and maybe don't leave it as long as I leave it. I'm going to make a conscious effort to get back into the program and get back into helping myself. Like, why wouldn't I? If help is available, even though I don't drink and I am sober, and it could seem like everything's amazing, there are times when, especially now, when you're isolated, and these could be really super tough times for people with addictions, because you can't do anything else, and you could just revert back to it so easily, because you could be like, who would even know if I just had a bottle of wine today? Like, maybe I could just do it because I'm alone and, whatever, I'm sad and I'm depressed and I've got nothing else and I've got nobody to talk to. And I think part of the reason why I'm making this video is just so that people know that there is somebody to talk to, and you don't have to be alone. And I'm not like super into knowing everything about these meetings or anything online, but I do know that they're available, and I do know that there's a lot of help out there and a lot of resources out there for people that need it. So I just wanted to put that out there. I know I probably super rambled on in this video, but I just want people to know, if you're struggling with addiction, alcoholism, or any kinds of problems, there is help out there. And I hope that you reach out and don't keep it all in like I do sometimes, because You're not alone, and that's what help's there for. And I hope you all have an amazing day. And I hope if this video or any of the advice that I've given today helps anybody, then that's amazing. So love yourselves, and I love you as well. Have a fantastic day.